G'day, welcome to Acrylic Art Alchemy by Annette. Today's video is how I made this gorgeous beach scene. I started with a 60 by 50 centimetre board that I pre-spray painted and used very transparent or clear colours over the top. So I thought I'd share how I did it. The board was sprayed with Rust-oleum gloss paints in deep blue, seaside and ocean mist. And also I used Dulaux Duramax Go-Go Blue as well. That's the colours there. My sand, I actually ran out of real sand, so I also used a Rust-oleum paint as my sand. And it is American Accent Stone Texture Finish. And it came up really, really nicely as a sand and is a great alternative if you haven't got real sand. I spray painted my board outside, and when it was dry I was ready to go. So I picked up some art resin. I have never tried to make wave with the art resin, but it's all still a learning curve for me, so I decided to give it a go. It's much thinner than I'm used to working with when I do waves, but the shoreline wave is usually quite wispy anyway. For my first wave area, I've mixed up some titanium white resin paste by Just Resin, and I've put that aside to thicken. I've also got the clear, which I'm pouring out now, and I've marked in where I want my wave to be at the front. I spread it all out with my gloved hand, and I am wearing my respirator mask. Please take all your proper precautions when using resin. I've cut a lot of finer details out of this video just to make it shorter, but if you do need more instruction or more details, please refer to the video that I did before this one, and I'll link it up above. Once I'm happy where the clear is, I now randomly pour in the clear that I've mixed in a bit of glitter powder too, and blend that with my gloved hand as well. The aim with the glitter is to create the effect of like sunlight shimmering through the water when it's under the light. I find using a gloved hand easier than just using my industrial heat gun to move the resin around. I get a better blend this way. When I'm happy with it, I cover it up and leave it till the alarm goes off that it's time to do the white. So I dip my popsicle stick into the white that I mixed up, and I just let it run off the stick in a sort of fluid line while moving my hand along. I always start off the canvas or the board piece on either side when I'm doing this, so that if there's any blobs of white, it lands off your area. Next, I've got my industrial heat gun. I've set it to its lowest heat setting but highest fan setting, and I'm aiming it in just behind the white line that I've marked out. I use my other hand to slightly lift up the board at my end, which helps push the wave backwards as you go along with your heat gun. Then I go in behind that white line and push the wave back further and help blend it into the background area, so there's no sort of harsh lines behind the wave. Of course, the way I do waves may not be the way that you or other people do waves, so I'm just showing you the way that I have found easiest for myself up here in the tropical heat of far north Queensland, Australia. Now it's time to create the lacing effect that you get when a wave crashes, and to do that I use my small butane torch, and I go over the white areas and make sure that I don't stop in any one spot with the heat going, or you will burn it. The heat helps break up the white, and that's how you get your lacing effect. If you do burn it or have some other disaster while the resin is still quite runny, you can just wet a baby wipe with isopropyl alcohol and wipe off the section that you don't like and redo it. When I'm done, I cover it with a food cover and leave it to set. 12 hours later, I'm ready to do my second wave. I'm using just resin diamond coat for this layer, and I've mixed it up off camera. I've mixed up some white, the same as I did in for the first wave, and I've also mixed up some clear with 2 drops of Bondi Blue epoxy tint by Colour Obsession to create a very see-through, transparent, pale blue. So I pour it all over, starting from the back and down. I've already put down some clear where I want the second wave to go. This resin is thicker than the art resin, and I'm after a more defined wave this time, which is why I've swapped to the thicker resin. Once again, I use my gloved hand and spread it all out. When it's 10 minutes before the pot life of the resin is due, that's when it's time to do the white wave again. And once more, I dip my popsicle stick into the white mix and run it along where I want the wave to go. Then it's time for the industrial heat gun, and I set it on the same settings as I did previously and blow my wave out again. As I go along, I sort of move the nozzle backwards and forwards, and it gives sort of a fan effect to the wave. Rather than it being even, I think that looks more realistic that way. Next, I use my little butane torch, and I quickly move over the white areas, moving constantly all the time. This breaks up the white paste area and creates this lovely lacing effect. After an hour of making the wave, I always come back and just check it, and there was pieces on this one that I wasn't happy with. So I just spray a baby wipe with some isopropyl alcohol, wrap it around my finger, and very slowly move along and remove the bits that I'm not very happy with. And I do this on multiple areas on this particular wave. It was just too thick, and I didn't like the look of it. I wanted it thinner. It's the day before I got back to do the last wave, but it's only a small section at the top, and I'm not going to do a full length white area. I'm just going to put white in 3 little spaces for this wave, and I'm going to colour it this time with some Bondi Blue and Bermuda Blue epoxy tint from Colour Obsession. Still transparent, but just a little bit darker to match the darker colour of the spray paint underneath. I'm using just resin diamond coat again for the wave, and I've mixed it up off camera, mixed up some white, and I'm just laying down some clear where I want the wave to go for this last one. Then I pour in my blue, and I'm going to miss out a lot of this one because it's really just a repeat process for the third wave as well. So you'll see me blending it in. And then after the alarm goes off, I'm going to zoom in to do the white. I'm only doing about a 10 centimetre section, and then I did a small, maybe 5 centimetre in the middle and another little bit on the far right. So the wave is broken. I clean up the mess that I don't like, blow out the wave and do the other 2, and I'm done. So thank you everybody for watching, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below and I'll get back to you. I really appreciate that you've come past and had a look.